this was the original Mook, which obviously broke. This is the white version. As you can see, with no reinforcement. I'm sure you guys remember that piece right there.
You'd grind right through it. I remember that.
And then the next step was to add some material in the center to reinforce it. What happened with that, as we know though, is that by adding too much material, it actually made the frame weaker.
C'est bon, puis on reste quelque chose, non?
No. This one is the first one.
Ouais, il a cassé. Ah, il a cassé.
Combien?
Il a 30, là.
Combien de masses, hein? Attention, c'est pas cassé, tu vois.
C'est ce que je disais tout à l'heure, Philippe, il vient filmer.
Je fais carrière, donc là.
The next step that was taken to improve the quality was, as you see on here, the injection point is in the center, and then with the next one we decided to move the injection point, since this is the point of contact for most skaters. What was then done, since that still was not enough, was to create some sort of new internal structure, which once again did not prove to be the best thing. This one in particular, which looks incredibly strong and rigid, was actually too rigid and made the frame, it decreased the quality of the frame, and we actually had a lot of breakages on that. And not a lot of people got to test that model because almost immediately it started breaking. It was no problem. It couldn't absorb anything exactly. It was too rigid. It was too stiff. So then the idea came up that, well, maybe if adding a shock absorber would help, but and the shock absorber gets applied to the top of the frame or any of the models of frames, but really it didn't help, and two densities were tested, a more rigid one and a softer one, and neither proved to be better. So considering what we learned from the rigidity here, the next step was, or the path we thought we'd follow was more flex, and thought that with more flex in the frame we might receive less breakage. So this sort of Frankenstein-esque version of the frame was developed, where there's a cutout in the center to create more flex, but it failed as well, and I'm sure you can see why. For the frame to flex on the sides in the center of the frame, and that's where this came from, was to take out this portion of the mold and to leave it with a pillar to give it some centerline rigidity, but to allow it to flex upon impact.
So instead of flexing like this,
right, it would be
flex sideways.
Right, the shock is forced to go vertically through the frame rather than horizontally. So that proved to be well. So then we came up with the next step, which was to actually solidify this and add these two little points here for some extra strength. And but what we realized was, because this is a frame that has colorant in it, the frame has pigment added to change the color. We wanted to change the color from the tan Mook and go with something different. So what happened is, with adding the colorant, the frame got weaker again, and therefore it wasn't up to par. It was much better than any of these versions, I think by 30%, but we weren't ready to put it back into the market with this pigment. So next step was to test what this did naturally, and there's two tests here. This is the natural color of the material with no pigment added, and there were tests done. Ghostbusters is that glow in the dark. To see where we stood quality-wise, these were compared, and these were compared, and the frame without the colorant proved to be much stronger. So the next step, the final step, and where we're at today, was to develop the material, the natural material, to be black, rather than adding pigment, but to develop the material, and that's where we're at now. The frame is much stronger. We're ready to launch it into production, and with all these changes, all these evolutions, this is where we are today. Now this is the newest version of the frame, and here is a tested version that has been broken. You'll see it's been cracked. But if you look,
Almost all the way through.
it's been grinded all the way through. It's been grinded to the point of, no return.
Any frame would snap.
Yeah, so it's,
The boot of the skates right there.
so yeah, exactly. There's even no Royale angle left. You're forced to do UFOs for the rest of your life if you skate these. So, yeah, so we're happy with that test. And if you look here, this is what it looks like when we forced it to crack, when we broke it. You look at all that material there. That's plenty of material to grind through.
Tu veux un coup de main?
Non.
Non, mais
Non, mais tu vas en dessous de la limite, là. Je vais mettre à 110. Vas-y. Tu veux le monter? From 45 degree, it will go to 66 degree.
Okay.
So 45 was the first, it broke. Now it goes to 66 degree, which is more than 100 in terms of force.
Shane, it's a big difference.
It's a huge
As we
difference.
see the difference, the impact is very stronger. We will explain after.
Vous voulez? Vas-y. Alléluia. Broke.
You see the difference?
Did not break.
Youhou!
Bon, plus haut.
Vous pouvez expliquer que c'est pas une...
45 degrees were this and this. So
In fact,
and
it's
this
in terms of energy.
is a double in terms of energy.
So you're saying the first frame
Was 50 joule, 50, and it broke 46 degrees.
Less than that.
And here, and it's still
with the new move, we're at
with the
twice
new
the
move,
force,
twice the force,
and it doesn't break.
and it doesn't break.
Un choc plus élevé.
And we do a,
Montre-leur.
tu veux pas faire un choc en plus? Is it enough for you?
Vas-y, vas-y.
You want to go higher?
Okay, another
Yeah.
one, higher.
How high? How high?
Par combien?
71 degrés. Ça fait
71.
125 joules.
So it's to go to 71, and we've already done a 65 on this. Does that make it weaker or no?
Est-ce qu'il a cassé ou pas?
Non, non.
No?
Non, non.
All right, 71.
71.
71.
Allez, on est pour tomber là.
Oh yeah.
Did it break? No breakers. Did not break.
71, no breakers.
Yeah. Good one. Let's go to the other machine.
71 does mean 71.
125.
It doesn't
joules.
break. So you can see the difference.
I'd have so much fun doing that.